You know their names and their nicknames. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. John Wayne Gacy, the Killer Clown. Ted Bundy, the Campus Killer. Joseph DeAngelo, the Golden State Killer. And Jeffrey Dahmer, the Milwaukee Cannibal. And there's many, many more. It's said the most prevalent years for serial killers in the United States was between the years of 1970 through 1990s. For whatever reason, and thank goodness, serial killers are on the decline. Or are they? Forensic psychologists and crime statisticians estimate at any one time there are approximately 30 to 50 active serial killers in the United States. Now that's a lot of killers. Welcome back to True Crimes and Mysteries with Ricochet Rains. In this episode, I'll be delving into serial killers that may or may not be at large. These serial killers, at least some of them, could very well be dead and gone. But if they are still among us, watch till the end. You or someone you know may have information you can provide to help solve and or capture those that are still among us. If you take a walk at night, and even in the daytime, and feel like someone is following you, take a look around and you'll probably discover it's only your imagination. Something we've probably all conjured up in our minds at one time or another. But if you get the heebie-jeebies and want to be on the safe side while walking at night, you may want to consider not taking a walk alone. I suggest walking with a friend, and also consider a big-ass dog. The serial killers in this episode don't have formal names, but they do have infamous nicknames. Why, you may ask? It's because they have not been caught and have so far evaded capture. The I-70 Killer. Between April 8th and May 7th, 1992, 6 people were shot and killed along a stretch of I-70 between Terre Haute, Indiana, and Wichita, Kansas. 5 were women, and law enforcement officials believe that the 6th was mistaken for a woman when the killer saw his long ponytail. All of the victims were brunettes, and all were employees at stores just off the highway. They were all killed with a .22 caliber bullet. There was no assault, no major thefts, except for less than $50 stolen from Sylvia's ceramic store. Witnesses were able to give police a basic description of a man seen entering the stores before the murders. The suspect was described as a white male in his 20s or 30s, thin and having lazy eyelids and sandy blonde or reddish hair, standing approximately 5'7" to 5'9", weighing between 140 to 160 pounds. This spring of 2022 marks the 30th year anniversary of these unsolved murders, and police advise that the case is still open. In 2021, the St. Charles Police Department published an age-progressed version of the original composite sketch to show what the killer may look like today. Investigators believe the killer is between 52 and 70 years old if he is still alive. The Eastbound Strangler. On November 20th, 2006, 2 women who were out for a walk made a horrible discovery. They discovered 4 bodies who had been neatly discarded behind the Golden Key Motel located on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, just on the outskirts of Atlantic City, New Jersey. The victims, all women, were fully clothed, except for their shoes and socks, and positioned face down in a row facing east, approximately 60 feet apart from each other, in a drainage ditch with shallow water behind the motel. According to law enforcement, it is believed all 4 women were working in the sex trade. All had been strangled, hence the nickname of this serial killer, the Eastbound Strangler. Law enforcement said that at the time, there was no shortage of suspects. One by one, they were cleared of the murders until there were no more left. An appeal for information on the 4 murders was reissued in 2021, with Chief of County Investigations Bruce Shields stating, 15 years later, we have not made an arrest for these homicides, but we're always looking, we're always working, and re-examining information about this case. We haven't stopped. We won't stop. a $25,000 reward has been issued for information leading to the killer's arrest. The West Mesa Bone Collector. In 2001, women started disappearing at a higher rate than usual from the high crime area of Central Avenue in Albuquerque, New Mexico. This would continue through 2005. On February 2nd, 2009, a woman minding her own business and walking her dog found a human bone on the West Mesa and reported it to the Albuquerque Police Department. A full-on investigation began that uncovered the remains of 11 women and one unborn child. The ages of the victims ranged from 15 to 32 years of age, most being Hispanic, and some were thought to be involved in the sex trade. This was a crime scene on a scale that no one could have imagined. The victims of the so-called West Mesa Bone Collector wouldn't be identified for another 11 years. 11 years. There are two thoughts on the West Mesa murders. There's either a serial killer out there, or there's the possibility of a sex trafficking ring discarding remains. Although hundreds of people have been investigated, no official suspects have ever been named in connection with the murders. The ID of the West Mesa Bone Collector remains a mystery. According to the city of Albuquerque, there is a $100,000 reward being offered for information about the killer or killers. On the 13th anniversary of the discovery of the first remains tied to the West Mesa murder case, Albuquerque city officials are pleading for the new help solving the case. The Long Island serial killer, also known as Lisk, as well as Gilgo Beach Killer and the Craigslist Ripper. In December of 2010, 4 bodies dubbed the Gilgo Four were found within a quarter mile of each other near Gilgo Beach on the coast of Long Island. Later, between March and April of 2011, 6 additional sets of remains were found 2 to 5 miles of those discovered in 2010. Though the remains were discovered in 2010 and 2011, some had gone missing many years prior. One set of partial remains belonged to a discovered body from Fire Island in 1996. The so-called Long Island serial killer case remains unsolved, and it is most likely, according to the New York Times, a white male in his mid-20s to mid-40s, educated, married, or with a girlfriend, who is very familiar with the South Shore of Long Island and has access to burlap sacks, which he uses to hold the bodies for disposal. He may also have knowledge of law enforcement techniques and/or possibly has ties to law enforcement. Many fit the suspect's profile. However, they have been ruled out for one reason or another. In late 2021, near the anniversary of the discovery of the remains of one of the victims, Shannon Gilbert, Ray Tierney, the new district attorney for Suffolk County, made it clear that he was not only keeping the case open, but that he would be reconducting interviews and re-examining evidence, including claims of corruption within the law enforcement departments. In conclusion, it may be that the killer or killers will never be found for these heinous crimes. If you or anyone you know has information regarding any of these homicides, please contact your nearest law enforcement agency or any Crime Stoppers. Thank you for watching another episode of True Crimes and Mysteries with Ricochet Reigns. And remember, please be safe out there and take care of each other.